Hey, what's up, YouTube? Coming at you today with a testimony video. Figured it's about dang time. Uh, Basically, what it was, I guess, where should I start? I'm doing this video to show you all, you know, we make many mistakes in life, but it's not about the mistakes that we make because the mistakes is only temporary pains, and pain never lasts. And so I want you to also see all the perseverance. And again, I'm going to have to show another example of this, unfortunately. But hey, there's some experiences to take away that are a good learning thing too. It's nothing but just another trial, get me closer to God. So at the end of the day, I'm always thankful for my family and thankful for my blessings I've been given. And I'm thankful for just, being alive, basically. But I guess I'll start with in the military. Uh, I was 19 and we got orders to go on our first deployment, which I actually volunteered because our company, one of our sister companies, needed more people. And I always wanted to deploy, so I volunteered to go to switch companies and go with the 401st. It was an MP company out of Fort Hood, and we were going to go to Afghanistan. And we had a 2 weeks vacation right before we were deploying. And being 19 and freshly married, me and my wife decided to party pretty hard. And when I got back from my 2 weeks leave, we had a pee test. Well, yeah, I peed hot for cocaine. And yeah, so at first they're like, oh, we're going to have to kick you out. But what was lucky for me is there was another man in our company that also peed hot for the same. And me and him instantly became friends. And because he had a lot less in his system is the reason why I got to be saved. Because they probably wouldn't have gave me the benefit of the doubt. But anyways, me and him ended up deploying to Afghanistan. We did our 45 days of extra duty. We had our rank taken away. And then we had that was 45 days of extra duty we did with our first sergeant. And then when first sergeant let us go out to with our platoon again, he's like, all right, you're going to do 45 days of extra duty again, sons. But hey, we made it through, and we ended up both coming home with Purple Hearts. And he actually ended up marrying my sister and had 2 kids by her. They're no longer currently married, but hey, he still has 2 kids in the family, so he's always family to me. And the way we met, I'll never forget, and just our experience over there. So I mean, you look at something that was something terribly wrong, but it ended up being a lifetime friendship. Well, anyways, fast track a couple years later, I was still in the military, and I didn't pee hot this time, but I didn't tell no lie. And what it was is I was nervous for a pee test because I had smoked some weed. And they were like, all right, Private Brummer, you're a hell of a soldier, but you're a goddamn dumbass. And we can't have that in our army. So I got kicked out of the military. And right at that same time, my wife got arrested for possession of controlled substance. And she got sentenced to 7 years of probation. So I was kind of out on my butt. She was out on her butt, and we moved back in with my parents for 6 months. And anyways, I was going okay, and she was doing her thing on probation, and she failed a urinalysis. And she had to go to a rehab facility for 6 months, which was in a place called San Angelo. And actually, that we got to eventually have visitation, where you could actually like leave the facility, and then eventually you could work up to have an overnight pass. And we actually conceived our daughter there, which my wife was not even supposed to get pregnant, but by the grace of God and by another bad situation, we ended up being majorly blessed with our daughter. And then going forward from there, 2 years later, with now we're three of us having we're in a family, my wife had another troubles, and this time she had to go to like a drug program that was more like a prison type deal. And that brought along challenges now with the family, and we had to work through those, and we worked through those, and then uh, eventually my wife made it through her 7 years of probation and everything. We got everything done, did all community service hours, all the classes, paid all the money. She got off of her probation, which was awesome, and we found out her mom had cancer. Well, then that was in January of 2000, I think, 18. And then she passed away basically that same year in September. So that was a really hard thing. And I also am leaving out a part too because when backtrack to when we had my daughter, I had cheated on my wife. So that was another major problem too, because we had to work through that. Well, when she was in the second rehab place, I also cheated on her again. And the second time, the first time she gave me a pass and she was very honorable. Second time she's like, Nate, I'm gonna teach you a lesson. And so then, she had cheated on me, got her revenge, and things were getting just real hard. And I was in a period of my life where I was struggling for quite a while. It just had been so much stress over so many years. And I'm not making excuses, but I made a lot of poor choices, and it all culminated up until this weekend. Well, this weekend I was arrested for a DWI, and spent the night in jail, and I'm waiting on my court date. But I wrecked my truck too, so now I'm without a vehicle. But I'm looking at everything in my life, and I'm seeing every time I've ever made mistakes, I've always owned up to it, took it on the chin, and keep rolling. And every time I feel like God has blessed me majorly afterwards from my mistake because I learned lessons that are lifelong lessons that I don't forget. So I just look at this as another opportunity, and I figured I would share that with y'all. And basically, what it was too that I wanted to share at the end of the video is this. I don't know who the person is, but I was commenting to this video that I'd be watching of this podcast, the 307 podcast, and somebody on there commented back to me and was like, they told me this story that they heard one time where a sergeant was talking to his privates, and they were all at war or whatever and all shot up. And they were running and found a Jeep or something, and they got in the Jeep, and the private looked to the sergeant and says, Sergeant, I've been shot. And the sergeant looked back to the private and said, Private, we've all been shot. Drive, private, drive. Keep driving. And so I just wanted to tell y'all that was a really, really cool quote to me because that's exactly what message I'm trying to pass along too. It's not about how many times we fall, it's about how many times we get back up. And when we make it through those failures or those shortcomings or those falls and we get back up gracefully, that's where we got to go teach and make sure other people out there who maybe have made mistakes or thinking a little bit down on themselves just know that it's always temporary. The pain is temporary as long as you let it last. So you just keep your head up and just know days always will get brighter. You know, they say joy comes in the morning, and shoot, I believe it. Even in jail that night, I was feeling real sad and stuff because I know I let my whole family down, and I know it was just real poor choice. But it kind of felt in a way like sometimes I could still make a good positive impact even in jail. Because that night we did push-ups in our cell. I was singing with one of the inmates. Another man told me, he was telling me, kind of releasing to me that the reason he was in there is because he stopped caring because his sister died that day. Another guy said that he had gotten a DWI with his son in the car. So they were all struggling too, and I felt pretty proud of myself because I kept my head up, and I felt like I was able to pick their heads up as well in their tough time. And it was fortunate for me because one of the dudes even got released with me. So if he didn't get released when I did, because I didn't have my phone even in my possession, so I couldn't call nobody to even pick me up. So I ended up walking home from jail. But luckily he had his phone and I did get to call my wife. But by the time she made it, I was pretty far close to home. But yeah, that was my weekend. That was a bad one. But hey, life is not a sprint, it's a marathon. I'm coming up and I'm gonna keep y'all updated on how my progress goes, I'm already feeling pretty good. I can't drive for sure for a while until I get some situations figured out here. So like today I was walking in the rain to pick up my daughter from school. That was all good though. I carried her on my shoulders on the way home. And I'm just going to keep on pushing. I think it's really going to be a blessing because it's something I always knew in my heart I needed to change, but I'm so stubborn. It always sometimes takes me to get knocked around a few times to realize, all right, I need to really buckle down here. So I'm telling y'all, I'm gonna keep you updated, and you're gonna see some changes in me. You're gonna see some positivity, and I'm out here gonna try to pass it off to you guys that maybe need it too. So, like I say, much love, peace, love, and light. Nate's out.